fund. The general fund revenue stands at $4,960,884.68 with expenditures of $5,392,498.98. The water fund revenue stands at $2,973,811.79 with expenditures of $2,414,306.14. Sewer funds revenue, $457,052.01 with expenditures of $419,840.65. This brings the total receipts for the month, $8,531,411.59, or 104.056% in anticipated revenues, and $8,227,395.77, or 100.348% in anticipated expenditures through February. The balance collected for the sewer capital is $561,101.97 through February. And some notes that Paula, our deputy village treasurer, gave to me include she is conducting ongoing training with Megan Gishwind, our deputy village clerk, who is assisting in the treasurer's office. We closed out the escrow with the watershed monitoring IMA that we had in the village between April 2017 to February of 2024. This involved the village of Woodbury, the town of Woodbury, the village of Cornwall-On-Hudson, and the town of Cornwall, those four municipalities in 2017, entering into an IMA to have an outside company, a group of engineers, hydrologists, fancy name for people that monitor and study tributaries, streams, lakes, reservoirs, things like that, to monitor the Woodbury Creek and ensure that that nothing, water was not being drawn out of the aquifer to a point where it would affect and impact the trout and the other wildlife around there or imperil the aquifer itself. We've had 4 years of extremely high rainfall, which has kept the creek at normal levels or above. So the four communities decided to decommission the study on that, which even the engineering firm thought was a good idea to do. Last thing, our fiscal stress monitoring for 2023 was 0, no designation, which is a good thing. That essentially means that the village is not facing any fiscal stress. How do you determine that? You look at your revenues, you balance them with your expenditures, and you look at what your unallocated available fund balance is, making sure that the village is in a good place in the event of needing to dip into a rainy day fund, and we are in a good spot. And our treasurer's office is working on a work zone safety grant from PERMA for some work zone packages. And that is it. All right. Any questions from the trustees? Hearing none, we'll move on to the building department.
I'm sorry, alibi, as we
Yes.
say. Next month's report will be for March, and that's going to be the first report of the new fiscal year, right? So we'll start to see the total receipts and expenditures back down to the 10% range or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
and taxes.
Got it. Thanks.
Great question, Bill, and well stated. So I won't even follow up on that. Well said. All right, moving on to the building department report. Trustee Carnwright.
Okay, report for February 2024. Building permits issued 13. Certificate of compliance occupancy issued 9. On-site inspections 22. Violations 1. Stop work orders 0. Municipal searches 2. Solar panels 0. Fire inspections 1. Manny Carmona, Code Enforcement Officer.
Yeah. All right. I should have said this at the top of the meeting. The police chief is not going to be here tonight. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. And our assistant building inspector, Jimmy Moore, is here in place of our senior assistant building inspector, Manny Carmona, who had a conflict tonight. So, Mr. Moore, anything to add to that report that wasn't covered? Or any?
Nothing new, no reports from us unless there are any questions.
Board?
Yeah, just one, in regards to the fire inspections, I know you've been doing quite a few of them. Are we pretty much caught up on them now? I know we were behind, I think before you.
More commercials, more commercial spots than anything else.
Are they yearly?
Yeah, it's supposed to be done yearly,
Okay.
and then issued summons if they don't.
How many,
Which we got backed up on.
yeah, how many outstanding do we still have for the
quite a few.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number.
Okay,
I know it's a bunch,
okay.
so.
Of course, we are live, right?
We are.
Okay.
Yes, I've been texting Mark, though, that it didn't come up, it didn't come up
Okay.
correctly. I texted Mark, and he's not able to help.
It's not, it's, okay, so it's not live right now, 'cause-
I've been going back and forth with him, and I wasn't able to get it live with him.
okay.
So, no.
All right, so we don't have a live stream right now.
We are recording, but we're not live.
Okay, okay.
It
let me let the local
messed
know.
up when I started it, and I texted Mark, but Mark is on stage right now and is not able to help.
All right, let me let them know.
I can put up a new link, which I think at the last minute I tried to do, I did a new link, and I'm hoping that would solve the problem, but I'm not sure, and I can't ask Mark.
Okay. All right, but we're
recording, yes.
recording it so that he can watch it after the fact.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will put up another link. I don't know if the other link will work, though.
Okay. All right, fire department, trustee Paleota.
February 2024 summary. Fires, there were 4 fire events, 8 EMS calls, 2 good intent calls, 2 false alarms, 2 meetings, 4 drills, apparatus and station maintenance 2. Total events 24, total volunteer hours 165.5. February fires included a chimney fire, a cooking fire, a vehicle fire, and an outdoor grill fire near a residence. Candidates Charles Kepner and Amy Hutter have applied for membership in the fire department. They will be meeting with the Board of Fire Commissioners on March 12th. Firefighter Gloria Marino has started basic exterior firefighting operations. This is the first half of the Firefighter 1 course, which is necessary to become an interior structural firefighter. The fire department will be submitting a FMES grant application to replace its 20-year-old self-contained breathing apparatus, thanks to Assistant Chief Trainer and Captain Trainer for compiling the information required for the grant.
All right, I don't see him here, the chair of our fire commission.
No, he got called out of state this afternoon. I will add to that Gloria Marino scored 100 on her final exam for BPOs. And the commissioners did accept both Charlie and Amy as new members in the department.
Excellent, excellent. Anything else to add, chief?
Are we gonna get that grant, or what's the chances
Oh,
on
it
that?
has been submitted. What the chances are, I have no idea.
Okay.
How much money are we talking, Charlie? With respect to the grant?
$350,000.
Pardon me?
$350,000.
Okay. I mean, that's the total grant award, not with what we're applying for.
That's what we're applying for.
350.
Yeah.
Wow.
It replaces the entire,
All
how
of
many
them, okay.
units is it? You guys had said last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, about 35.
35, yeah.
Okay.
All right, and I will add that I think that the new form this way without the pie charts, much more user friendly, easier to read off of. So this looks good. All right, anything to add, chief? Nothing else?
Nothing else.
Anybody have any other questions for the chief or the assistant chief or the captain? Since we have a quorum here of firefighters. Nope. All right, moving on to the police department. Trustee Brain.
Cornwall-On-Hudson Police Department report, monthly report, February 1st through 29th, 2024, there were 405 total calls for service. There were no felony calls. There were 2 misdemeanor violation calls, 1 for fraud or identity theft and 1 for criminal mischief. Under arrests, there was 1 for misdemeanor. Vehicle and traffic, there were 3 property damage accidents, 4 traffic summonses issued, 3 traffic warnings issued, 2 parking summonses issued, and 14 traffic enforcement posts with 2 speed or radar sign postings. Non-criminal activity, there were 8 fire response calls, 3 domestic incidents, 13 alarm response calls, 1 noise complaint, 8 suspicious incident calls, 4 animal complaints, and 1 disorderly person call. Departmental assists. The department assisted the town of Cornwall PD 7 times, EMS 10 times, other agencies 2 times, other police agencies 2 times, performed 2 welfare checks, 3 citizen assists, and assisted 1 other COH department. And the department requests a resolution from the COH Village Board to enter into a intermunicipal agreement with the County of Orange to participate in Orange County Stop DWI for the year of 2024. Respectfully, Chief Stephen E. Dixon.
All right, Chief is not here. Any questions? I don't know if I can answer any of them, but no. All right, seeing none, we will move on to the Department of Public Works. And who has that one?
Usually me.
It's usually you, then it's you tonight. Trustee Paleota.
Okay, February 2024. Trash collected for the month, 91.50 tons. Recycling collected for the month, 18.75 tons. Yard waste collected for the month.
We don't start that till April
Routine
1st.
maintenance performed on village vehicles. Repairs and maintenance of street sweeper preparing for season. Pre-treating of roads for ice and snowstorms. Plowing roads and clearing sidewalks. Snow removal from parking areas and lots. Street sign repairs. Spring bulk pickup will be April 22nd. We have started to replace the boat docks and house to save on costs and to have them ready for the water for early April. Install sidewalks replacement has begun on Cary Road. David Halverson, Superintendent, Public Works.
David, anything to add?
Sidewalk's almost done or is done?
Curie Road is, they're done pouring on Curie Road. We've got
That's-
curbing to do and some other, a couple other areas to do yet.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Great.
Yeah,
it's
long
like
time
brand
coming.
new.
Our ultimate
A lot
goal
of
with that
walkers
is
on
to,
that road.
our ultimate goal is, and I've spoken to Josh uptown about this, is to hopefully in next year's budget, the town will complete that section because Curie Road, half of it is owned by the village, the other half is owned by the town. We're going to the village-town line with the hopes that they pick it up next year, which will make that stretch walkable for kids that are going to the middle school and for anybody else that's out walking, so.
They should be able to incorporate that with the work that they're doing, that they have to do
On
on
the-
Curie Road.
on the
to
bridge there.
stabilize it there.
Is that us or is that
No, that's
us?
them.
County,
That's their
state,
section.
That's us.
I mean, the repair work that has to be done there, that's the town?
That's town road,
Yeah,
yes.
so,
Yeah.
they get any help with that or no?
I know their engineering firm is working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big job.
I think they are waiting to hear something about a couple of grants for the repairs there. It's gonna be a major job.
Yeah, it is a major
But
job.
to Dave's point, he's right. It's like, might as well
Street, though.
tie in the sidewalks then when that gets done. Cause they're gonna have to flip to the other side of the street just because of the rock and the demolition work that would be required if we did it all the way down on the left side of the road, so.
And it'll connect with the middle school.
Yep,
So make it definitely more walkable for the village. And
perfect. And they're all ADA compliant now, the ones that we've done down there, so they're all done correctly. And then this week, while the kids are out of school, the plan is to do the curbing in front of Storm King, in front of COH Elementary School, and then do some more work on curbs that are missing and replace them and have them installed along the central business district, which is essentially Hudson Street, because some of those have been torn up over the years. So, all right. What else, Dave? Anything else?
And that's it on the report.
Okay. Big thing, April 1st, we start yard waste pickup.
Yep.
Remind people of that, and bulk pickup April 22nd. Any trustees have any questions for him? All right, moving on to the water department. Who's got water? Dave, is that you?
Yeah, I'll take it. I don't
Hold on, who?
Carnwright usually
know in
does.
this folder. but-
Trustee Conrad.
Here, Dave,
typically
give him
reads
this
the
one.
water report.
Here, give him
Want
this.
it, Dave? I'm sorry.
Here.
There you go.
You got it? Okay.
Okay, Village of Cornwall-On-Hudson Water Department, February 2024 monthly report. Monthly production daily average, 19,052,000 gallons, 657,000 daily average. We collected 29 samples in accordance with our approved water quality monitoring plan. We repaired a chlorine chemical pump at Jackson Avenue Water Treatment Plant. Black Rock Water Treatment Plant remains offline as backup supply. Transmission distribution, 39 utility markups were completed. Assisted Orange County DPW with culvert pipe utility location. Snow removal, renovated the water department office at the DPW building. Water main repair, Deer Hill Road. Water service line repair, 8 Bridge Street. Fire hydrant repair, Grandview Avenue and Wood Avenue. Curb valve repair, 66 Holloran Road. Water main valve box repair, Taylor Place. Water shutoff at property owner's request, 166 Hudson, 2 Stillman, and 93 Willow Avenue. Meters, red commercial meters, final water tap meter readings were completed. 5. 6 residential water meters replaced, 1 meter transmitter replaced, 3 miscellaneous jobs completed. 30 water line inspections were completed. I assume they're the lead inspections, Mike?
No, those are.
Oh, just regular inspections? Oh, okay. Okay, awarded $952,000 in EPA funding through Congressional Community Project Funds for extension of water system to include Angola Road and Cedar Lane, seeking authorization to purchase a mini excavator to replace 22-year-old backup. Michael P. Trainer, Senior Water Superintendent.
Thank you, David. Michael, anything to add?
Quick notes, while Black Rock plant remains offline, we're about halfway done with the improvements that are being funded through FEMA. And the other item that we were notified after the report was made, that New York Rural Waters are awarding our water system of the year for the state.
I forgot about that.
Well done. All right.
Now I have a question. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last point? That sounds like a big deal. That sounds great.
So New York Rural Water System, they represent 1,400 small to medium-sized water systems, which is systems that serve 10,000 people or less. They have technical advisors that go out and they survey the water systems. They offer assistance where needed. They came down last October and we gave them a tour. We showed them some of the improvements that we made. So they went back. Their board of directors, which are all volunteers, each year they pick a water system and a wastewater system of the year, as well as an operator. So we won the water system of the year, and we'll go up in May, the week before Memorial Day, to accept the award at Turning Stone Resort.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Outstanding.
That's great. All of us.
All right, any other questions for, any other questions for the superintendent?
Yeah, I'll have to approve.
Nope. All right, moving on to Cornwall EMS, Deputy Mayor Kane.
All right, so the report for February 2024, with respect to personnel, there were 5 new volunteers. 2 paramedics were removed as they did not work in over 2 months. With respect to operations, 417 total dispatches, 100% of the calls were covered. So year-to-date, over 900 calls for the year have been covered. 207 patients were transported, and the chief notes that that's a record. 211 New Windsor 911 calls, 62 Cornwall 911 calls, and 13 Village of Cornwall-On-Hudson 911 calls. The average response times were, for New Windsor, 6 minutes 43 seconds. For the town of Cornwall, 6 minutes 18 seconds. And for Cornwall-On-Hudson, 5 minutes and 41 seconds. The Cornwall unit covered 11 calls in New Windsor. The Windsor covered 8 calls in Cornwall and the Village, and all vehicles are in service. As for administrative and other, the chief notes that there's still a need of names to fill the community board member seat for both towns. The DASNY grant funding was executed. Funds will be used for the next new ambulance at the end of 2024, and the funds have yet to arrive. When they do arrive, they will be invested in a CD and used for the next New Windsor EMS ambulance at the end of the year. The surplus ambulance that was donated by Kovac was sold to Beacon EMS, and the funds will go towards paying off the ambulance in Cornwall. This will be done this month. The education equipment arrived and training classes have begun. They platformed their online training and will be able to make custom training for all their staff. And lastly, the audit of the agency files to ensure all providers have updated certifications was completed. And that's it from Chief Michael Biggs.
And just one alibi on that. I spoke to the town supervisor. We have 3 applications in for the soon-to-be vacated seat on the New Windsor board. They have a board over New Windsor EMS with 1 seat that is occupied by a Cornwall resident. Karen Elman Reyes has, July will be 2 years, has been occupying that seat, but now that she's elected to the town council, is looking to step away, which is appropriate. So we are reviewing those 3, and then we make a recommendation to New Windsor in regards to who that person is going to be. So that is still an ongoing process, and we'll keep the board updated on that. All right, any other questions about EMS? Nope? Okay, then we're moving on to the resolutions. First resolution is one to approve the sewer capital credit for account number 007326-000. I'd like to make a motion to approve a sewer capital credit for that account in the amount of $480. Purpose of this credit, the homeowner has been charged for sewer capital even though the homeowner does not have sewer service through the village. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next resolution is one to post for a part-time crossing guard. There have been some concerns from a number of parents. I believe we had a petition signed, and some 60 people signed said petition in regards to the difficulties in traversing the crossing that links Idlewild across River Avenue onto Hudson Street to continue on to the school. We looked into it. The village has had more than one crossing guard before. We have one now. The town is in the same position where they've had crossing guards that they've winnowed their ranks down a little bit, and now they're looking to put an additional one in at the middle school. I pitched this to the village board. I explored it with the school system. The school system showed me the statute that states that the responsibility for financing and appointing school crossing guards are not left with the school system, but with the municipality where the school system is located. The village board was provided a number of approximately $5,400 for the year to hire somebody at a rate of at minimum wage, $15 per hour, to work 2 hours in 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, which works out to be 20 hours per week. And the village board, via a straw poll, was in agreement to do that. So I'm going to make the resolution now to approve the village clerk, Doris Wickizer, to post for a crossing guard position, at the rate of $16 per hour for 2 hours a day. Now, is it 2 hours a day? It's 1 hour in the morning, and 1 hour in the afternoon. I'm incorrect on that. It's 10 hours per week. 2 hours a day for the 180 days in the school year. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? And this is merely to post the position. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next item requires a little bit of a run-up on this, is the resolution to approve summer camp IMA, or intermunicipal agreement, with the town of Cornwall. The town and the village executed a IMA last year and signed it to have our first conjoined camp in I don't know however many years, due to the fact that of the 7 facilities that the Cornwall Central School District is in possession of, almost all of them were under construction for various improvement projects, part of their capital improvement plan. Last year, we were afforded only Lee Road Elementary School to be able to work out of, so we can join the camp. It was for a total of 250 kids. We struck a deal. We figured out what the rates would be, the tuition rates would be, the length of camp. It's generally runs 6 weeks. The town in the past historically had run 2 separate camps of 3 weeks and 3 weeks, and charged for each of those camps more than the village charged for an entire summer, but the town also had an additional hour. We only went from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. They went from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We were successful last year in having the town rec department run it. So the deal that was struck was that the village would pay the town essentially the sum of $15,000, which is what the town bookkeeper advised the town council would make them whole. They have to pay for a rec department. We also have to factor in the fact that we are 25% of the tax base for the rec department. And the IMA that was structured last year seemed to work pretty well. The town did not lose money in the deal, and the village ultimately cut a check for $15,000 for the town to run the camp. There were no quotas. It worked out last year that 157 town kids attended camp, 96 village children attended camp. So it was below the 250. We had allocated 125 and 125. There's also some out-of-town children, kids that live in Woodbury or the town of New Windsor that attend Cornwall Central School District. We allow them into camp too. The only changes to this IMA that the village board right now is aware of and in agreement of is to raise the price, because obviously the high school students that perform most of the camp counselor duties are granted minimum wage. Minimum wage went up in New York State, so the cost and the overhead for a number of items have gone up for the camp director, the assistant directors, and for the camp counselors. So the rate this year, and we're hoping to get this IMA ratified and get this posted online, because registration now can be done online through the rec department. And if people aren't comfortable doing things online, some of the grandparents that register kids, you can still stop in between the hours of 8:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon when the rec department is open up at the town, and you can, which is right next to adjacent to Munger Cottage, or in Munger Cottage, and you can register your kids once we post that registration is open. So the only change right now is village children and town children will pay a fee of $350 this year for the 6-week tuition. It was $300 last year. And out-of-town students, meaning the students that are in New Windsor or in Woodbury and that are in the Cornwall Central School District, the cost will go up from $400 to $450. Other than that, no changes. The town has not passed this yet. There was a particular council person that wants to essentially have some type of reapportionment where the village only gets so many kids versus the town due to population sizes. I'm not inclined to agree with that. I don't think that the town is going to vote to support that either, but the town has not ratified the IMA yet, but I want to get a vote from the village board that as it is currently constructed, we are comfortable with this and we will ratify this. So I'm going to make a motion to, Joe, you gave me special language for this. I'm going to make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Cornwall for the joint town of Cornwall, village of Cornwall-On-Hudson summer camp for 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? One thing to add, this has not been cemented yet, but last year the village did pick up the entire security portion of this because we're not running camps anymore without an armed law enforcement officer there. I asked the chief to see about splitting that with the town. You really need 2 officers when you have a group of kids, 250 of them, 125 of them at one time would be at Lee Road, which is where it's going to be this year. And then the other 125 may be on the move, on foot, walking to the town pool or walking to a different playground at one of the different schools around the community. So we really need 2 police officers to be there with the kids. So we're working that out, but that's not part of this agreement. But anyhow,
Just
Sir.
to add, provision 14 here is that the village will provide a police officer every day for the camp.
We did last year. We're going to ask this year, and we're going to still do that, and the chief has built that into the budget.
Okay.
We are going to ask the town to do the same so that we have that extra police officer for the children who are mobile. So,
Yep.
Good catch, Bill. All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. Next item, sorry, which page is that going to? Is it the resolution for... to set election poll worker stipends. Okay, so in 2021, for the first time in village history, and it was this village board, well, minus trustee Paleota, voted to extend voting hours for village elections. Village elections are not aligned with other state and local and federal elections. They're not in November, they're in March. So there are 1,500 cities, towns, and villages across New York State. 562 of those are villages, and every dadgum village does it differently. But we'd always had our elections from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the village board thought it made sense to help out. We're a bedroom community for New York City, and with people commuting, to expand our hours from the 9 hours per day to 15 hours by opening the polls at 6 a.m. in the morning. New York State allows you to do that. You can expand voting without permission as long as you pass a resolution. But if you curtail voting, even if you trim it but make it lengthen it another way, you have to get permission for that. Having said that, most of our poll workers are octogenarians. And 15 hours is a long, well, that's actually not fair this year. This year they got much younger. They were 29 and around that. I saw your face. Let me say this. They are not young kids, and they don't appear to be from my generation.
I have a feeling Barbara's showing up in the next meeting.
I think the median age was in the high 60s, 70s, and we've even had some 80-year-olds. And it's wonderful that they're able to do it, but it's a long day. We have been paying them $200 for a full day for many years. We don't know when exactly that started, but many years. We also pay $200 for the voter registration day we do that's only 5 hours. So you can sign up to register voters for $200 for 5 hours, and then sign up to work the polls here for 15 hours and get paid the same amount of money. Orange County pays its poll workers $350. Excuse the pun, I polled the village board individually to see if we could raise our rate to $300 for the full day. No one had any problems with that. We will figure out, ways to encourage more people to get involved this year. It was really tough finding people to do it. It's the same people that do it all the time, the same volunteers. But without anything else, without any further ado on that, I'm going to make a motion to increase the pay for the election workers and poll watchers from the current rate of $200 per session to $300 per full day election. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Joe, in regarding to the resignation. Yeah, okay. It is where.
What's the next one?
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to adopt, or actually to accept the resignation of one of our full-time police officers, former officer Theo Dewick of the Village of Cornwall-On-Hudson Police Department, resigned effectively Wednesday, March 6, 2024. So I'm going to make a motion to accept his resignation. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to the acceptance of the security audit proposal of Fitch Solutions. I'd like to make a motion to accept the quote of Fitch Solutions of $2,198 to conduct a cybersecurity compliance audit, and also to authorize the mayor to execute the proposal documents. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
I know we had it at our work session where the total was it $2,198?
That's in the updated, I think the original draft had 1,000.
Yes, the quote was 1,000, but then your update had 2,000, so I switched it to 2.
Because it includes.
It includes the entire-
Expanded
Right.
to.
For the entire village
yeah.
Okay.
government, yeah.
And
So
what-
the total is the 1,198 plus 1,000.
And then exactly
So
what does that
2,100.
entail?
So, do I need to separate that? Or just?
No, it's just.
No.
No, it's one
Just there's a
assessment
quote
for the whole
attached, but we
Yeah.
know that the total is actually $1,000 more than the attached quote. I believe.
Yes.
Got it.
And you said it
So,
correctly when you
okay,
said
I
the
did. Okay.
resolution. Yeah.
All right, I got
I
confused
just
there.
was looking for the thing.
Okay.
The quote has, but the quote has in there, the second to last page has got the 2198.
That's right,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're good, we're covered.
Okay.
I see it.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
All right, did I get a second?
Yeah,
there was a-
yeah.
You
Any
did,
other
and we were doing discussion.
further discussion?
David?
Dave?
No, I
Dave?
just wanted to know
Yeah.
what it entails. What are they doing?
Michael, I think you briefed it at the can you just give a quick update again to remind us? Because my mind gets foggy too.
So,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Water
I'm sorry.
systems required to do a cyber assessment every 5 years
Good to get
for
it on the
their
record.
operating systems, their business software, the billing software and such like that. For the 2001-98 Fitch Solutions, we'll be doing the entire village, all of the software, all of the computers. What that will entail is, making sure everybody has their own passwords, their own sign-on usernames. We have policies in place that we don't share passwords. If you looked recently in the Mid-Hudson News, there was an audit that was performed, I think, over in Beacon recently by the comptroller's office, and they got gigged on it, not having the proper cybersecurity protocols in place. It's a big thing nowadays.
Okay,
Thank you, Mike.
any further questions?
Nope.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, next one is resolution to authorize the purchase of a mini excavator. I'm gonna make the motion to authorize the purchase of said excavator for the sum of $79,967.34. This purchase is being made from through a New York State approved vendor, which satisfies the village's bidding obligation pursuant to general municipal law. May I have a second?
Second,
Discussion.
Discussion.
state bid.
The document had the 79,000. I know there's gonna be.
Trade-in,
Right, but
correct,
the contract price was the 79.
correct. And then there's a second one to purchase as well.
Okay, maybe so we have the $179,000, that's correct, but go ahead.
And then we're doing,
So we're going to surplus the existing mini excavator and the existing backhoe. And then we're going to purchase 2 mini excavators. 2, yes.
Okay.
For a total cost, I think, of, 92,000. Let me see here. $800.92. What that does, that allows us to rotate our equipment without incurring any heavy-duty maintenance costs. It's part of our equipment replacement plan. And essentially, the depreciation cost on the one that, we're gonna surplus and replace was $15,000 over the course of 5 years. So essentially, you're renting it for $3,000 a year, where, typically that would be $3,000 a month if you rent one elsewhere.
all right,
The other question, so,
So-
I don't wanna, so the one of the excavators is being purchased for the $79,000 number.
Less a trade-in, which would end up being the final purchase price for that one would be $31,467.34
After trade-in.
after trade-in.
Okay. Can you give us that number again, Mike?
$31,467.34.
so you want to amend the resolution, Joe?
Well, yeah, so
Okay.
one part of the purchase is the $79,000 number.
Mm-hmm.
The second mini excavator portion of the purchase will be $31,467.
It's for the same machine.
Why don't we why don't we get it straight from Mike?
Wait.
Okay, so I'm looking for a resolution to purchase 2 mini excavators for a total cost of $92,800.92.
Dare you?
92.
$92,892
For 2.
to purchase the 2 machines.
There you go. Total,
Okay.
the first one, 61,000, second one, 79,000,
Okay, so
and then there's trade-in value on both.
All right, so it's really just one resolution with 2 purchases for a total of $92,000.
Correct.
All right, so,
$92,892.
right, so, the resolution that's proposed was to purchase 1.
Yes.
So why don't we just amend it or correct it? It's actually gonna be to purchase 2 mini excavators for a total cost of $92,800.92.
Correct.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
further discussion?
Oh, we already have.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. Thank you for clearing that up, Joe, and Mike.
Well, it was Mike cleared it up.
All right. Nope, but thank you. Bill, thanks for your help on that too. All right, resolution to surplus backhoe and mini excavator. I'm gonna make a motion now to authorize the village board to declare the following vehicle surplus in order to allow us to list for sale. Number one, a 2002 Case CE 580M backhoe bearing manufacturer serial number J as in Juliet, J as in Juliet, G as in Golf 284092, and a 2019 Kubota K as in Kilo, X as in X-ray 057-4 mini excavator bearing manufacturer serial number 31778. May I have a second?
Second.
Any issues or anything need to be cleaned up on that before I open it for discussion? All right. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next item is, I believe it's night class. Yes.
Yeah.
The municipal cooperation resolution. I'm going to go ahead and read this one because it's short, but it's important. So I'm going to make this following motion and request that the village board adopt the following resolution. Whereas New York General Municipal Law, Article 5G, Section 1190, Section 119-0, empowers municipal corporations defined in Article 5-G, Section 119, and is in November to include school districts, boards of cooperative educational services, counties, cities, towns, and villages, and districts to enter into, amend, cancel, and terminate agreements for the performance among themselves or one for the other of their respective functions, powers, and duties on a cooperative or contract basis. And now, whereas the Village of Cornwall-On-Hudson wishes to invest $800,000 in the first year, and the subsequent years will be at the discretion of the treasurer or deputy treasurer of its available investment funds in cooperation with other corporations and/or districts pursuant to the Night Class Municipal Corporation Agreement amended and restated as of March 28, 2019. Whereas the Village of Cornwall-On-Hudson wishes to assure the safety and liquidity needs of their funds, now therefore it is hereby resolved as follows: that Paula Howard, Deputy Treasurer, or Megan Gishwin, Deputy Clerk of the Village of Cornwall-On-Hudson, are hereby authorized to participate in the Night Class program under the terms of the Night Class Municipal Agreement, amended and restated as of March 25th, 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
All right. So just to boil this down, Night Class is an investment opportunity that the village was pitched that had a better return rate on their investment. The town has been a member of Night Class. Many other of our contiguous, close local communities are, and the village board elected to with a approximately $2.6 million unallocated available fund balance, which is essentially our rainy day fund, to take $800,000 and put it into this for a year to see how it does. It has never lost money, and it pays more than just putting it in the bank like we've always done. So that is the method to the madness of taking a portion of that, which is just under a third of what we have in unallocated fund balance, and try to have the money work for us. Did I get that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
FDIC insured.
FDIC insured.
Not all of it,
Yep.
but most of it.
Some of it.
A portion of it was.
Portion.
Yes. Not all of it.
None of it.
Yeah. You sure? Well, you are the financial
Pretty
guy.
sure.
If you're telling me that, okay. I thought I was under the impression Dave was that a portion of it was.
The allocation that we are likeliest to go with is treasury bonds as a big component of it, which are not FDIC insured. They're insured by the good full faith and good, in the U.S. government. And then the other piece was what was the other piece? None of it's direct equities. It's collateralized obligation, collateralized deposits.
Got it.
And so those are relatively stable. That's probably the, only place where there would be, and I hesitate to use this word, risk, but based on all the due diligence that we did in the discussions with the provider of it and the materials they shared with us, it looks extremely safe and backed by the government, just not FDIC insured specifically.
Okay. I understand. That makes sense. All right. Did we take a vote on that? Any further discussion? Do we vote? Did we take a vote?
We did not vote.
We did not vote. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That was our last resolution. Okay. Other business, let me just run down through a couple of things. The village board has been diligently working on the rental fee schedule. Obviously, as our pavilion is now coming online, we've had some nice work done down there. If you get a chance to stop by Donahue Memorial Park and take a look at it, paver walkway there, which connects it with the composting toilets and connects it to Shore Road. We are working through the rental fee schedule and how, scheduling is going to work for that, as well as the gazebo, the bandstand, the lawn space down at Donahue Memorial Park, Donahue Farm property. So the board is working on those. The village clerk did a great job of finding us some comps in some local communities that are nearby us, and I've given those recommended fee schedule to the village board. Gentlemen and gentle lady, we will have that on our agenda for the April 8th work session to discuss. So please come ready to make a decision so that April we will have this thing finalized. All right. Next order of business, the village election, which was, has it been over a week now? Was it a week ago last Tuesday?
Yeah.
7 days from tomorrow. It was a week. Yes. In the results, I believe James Kane, our deputy mayor, received 241 votes. Lori Beth Paleota, fellow trustee, received 238 votes. Both of them with a solid majority, and will be returned to the board for another 2 years. So I want to wish both of them congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right. And we will swear them in on April 1st, the reorganization meeting. We have 3 meetings in April, April 1st, April 8th, and then I think we're going to discuss whether or not we're going to push the business meeting to the following Monday so that we don't have meetings 4 Mondays in a row, which is what we have lined up right now. Okay. That's that. Today, we celebrated the Medal of Honor ceremony in front of Town Hall at the Medal of Honor Monument. New York State is the state that has the most Medal of Honor recipients. We don't call them winners or awardees. They're actually recipients. We have one current living Medal of Honor winner that lives in the town by the name of Captain Paul Buddy Buca, who was a Vietnam vet and received the Medal of Honor in 1968 during a 3-day battle. We have 4 posthumous ones. 2 of them were from the Civil War, 1 of them was from the Korean conflict, and 1 of them was from the Vietnam War. So today, American Legion Post 353 honored them in front of Town Hall. It's a really select group of people. They've been awarding the Medal of Honor since the Civil War, and I believe the total is 3,741 in our nation's history. So it's a very exclusive group of people, and the vast majority of them receive it posthumously. So just give you a heads up on that. And last week I had the privilege on behalf of this village board of traveling up to Saratoga Springs, which, by the way, is a pretty nice little town if you've never been there before. Beautiful. To visit with Miss Ellen Dempsey. Miss Dempsey celebrated her 100th birthday in January. She was born in 1924. Her father was a World War I vet. Her mother was a teacher. Her older sister, Janet, was a longtime teacher in the school system here and a town historian. Her younger brother, George, attended NEMA. He passed away at the age of 95 in 2020 and served as our village's 25th mayor between the years of 1979 and 1981. Also a World War II veteran. So the family's just given some great service to this community. Miss Dempsey, Ellen, spent most of her career in Illinois, and I'm going to mispronounce it. It's like cytogenesis, but she was involved in the world of botany, did work at Notre Dame and a couple other places, came back to the village of Cornwall-On-Hudson in 1988 when she retired, at the age of 60, and then went and spent the next 20-something, 30 years at Cornwall Hospital working in the pain management department as a volunteer. Wonderful woman, still can play the piano, still can sing, still is as sharp as it made me nervous being around her. But we presented her with a proclamation on her 100-year birthday and got a chance to meet her family. She was very appreciative. Our plan a couple of months ago was to have her here and do it here. She wanted to have it done in Village Hall, and then she was somewhat bedridden for a stretch. The family then said, would you come to the house? Their house is right across from the old library, which is the admin building on Prospect. That's Prospect, right? On Prospect. And then the family decided to move her. Before I could get the village board together and go over to do it, the family moved her up to Saratoga Springs in a wonderful assisted living facility. But really a privilege to meet her, and longtime Cornwallian. So she sends her regards to the board, she said. So, all right. Next item of business is to move on to the dates. So March 28th, which is Thursday night at 6 o'clock, the board has been provided a status report on the fire department's apparatus. And that report, the gentleman that put that report together will present that to the village board. It will be open to the public. I know the fire folks will be here, fire commissioners will be here, and the board will get a briefing on that. It should not be a long meeting. I'm anticipating an hour or so, but anybody that's willing to attend, it's open to the public. So that is Thursday, March 28th, this Thursday. Then on Monday, April 1st, 7 p.m. is a reorganizational meeting where all the appointments for our contractors and our civil service employees, our superintendents, all those folks will happen on that night. And the board will set meetings for next year and do a bunch of other sundry business. April 2nd, in this very room, which is Tuesday, is the presidential primary. I don't even want to dare to set a over-under on that because I think both races are pretty much a fait accompli. But the county will be running the election here. It'll be from 6 a.m. in the morning until 9 p.m. at night, right here in the Edward C. Moulton Jr. boardroom. On April 9th at 6 p.m., the Fire Commission, our three commissioners will meet in the work session room or the conference room at 6 p.m. On April 9th at 6:30 p.m., the Donahue Committee is going to meet here in the village boardroom. All these meetings are open to the public. And then on April 8th, which is actually Monday of a week from next Monday, 2 weeks from tonight, the village board will have its work session. And as of right now, the village board meeting is scheduled for April 27th. I have to go through the process to figure out what it's going to, no, it's scheduled for April, what was the date of it again?
22.
So first, we have the 1st, the 8th, and then the business meeting was supposed to be 8 plus 7 is 15 on the 15th. I'd like to
22nd.
push it to the 22nd.
22nd.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, 22.
So does anybody on the board have a problem with that? And the only reason I'm doing that is so we don't have 4 Monday meetings in a row. Just put some space between it. We will obviously properly notice it. You'll make sure, let the paper know about that.
Yeah.
And make sure the website has it. Does the board need to pass a resolution to do that, Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
If everybody's available.
Anybody have a problem with
What is
separating?
it?
So Dave,
April
instead of doing
22nd?
it, we're gonna move, so we're supposed to have our meetings on the 2nd and 3rd Mondays, but because the reorganization meeting in
Right.
April of every year has to be the first Monday, we have 3 back-to-back meetings, plus tonight's meeting puts us at 4 back-to-back-to-back. So I wanna move the last one, which is the 15th, to the 22nd.
Okay.
Does anybody have a problem with that scheduling wise? No. Okay. Everybody's in agreement on that?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a motion to change the date of the village board's April 2024 business meeting, currently in April 15th, and reschedule it for a week later on April 22nd at 7 p.m. in the village board boardroom. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That is.
Which one?
Oh, yeah, I do. That's a
okay,
good
got it.
point.
All right.
Yep, thank you for reminding me. March 31st, the Storm King Engine 2 is holding its annual Easter breakfast from, Chief, is this right, 7 a.m. to 12 noon?
Yes.
7 a.m. to 12 noon. People can walk in and buy. Can they prepay for tickets? Any need for that or no?
No.
Okay. Obviously, cash is preferred?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, cash is king. Okay, so that is next Sunday. So this coming Sunday, March 31st, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and it's a good deal.
Easter, by the way.
What's that?
That would be Easter.
That is Easter. You're right. Yeah. All right, that's that. Gosh, I think that's everything. So, public comment and board comment. All right. Without any further ado, that's it for the board's agenda. Anybody from the public, Mr. Joya? Are you two going to fight over who's going first? We will take Mr. Kirshner. All right.
You were here first. Usually hit lead off. That's like.
Just state your name, please, and your address for the record.
Sure. Rob Kirshner, 19 River Avenue, here in the village, of course. I just want to say a couple of quick comments. First, I'm glad they're hiring the part-time crossing guard. That goes a long way towards some of the issues we talked about with the safety, kids crossing the street. So that's a good thing. The only thing I want to ask is, you said it's 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon. Do you know those hours yet?
What time do I see? It's going to be the same time that Mrs. Hogan is in front of Storm King Engine 2.
Okay.
So, yeah, it is.
8:30, I think.
What time is it?
8:30, she shows up?
School starts at, the kids get dropped off about a little bit before 9.
Right. So it's like 8:30 to 9:30, basically.
Yeah.
I would
Something
say
like
8:30,
that.
9:30.
They open up the school at 8:35,
Okay.
so it's.
There you go.
Okay. Just want to circle back real quick to last summer when we came here and discussed the speed limit on River Avenue and stop signs. And I haven't had the time to be as diligent as I wanted to, but I haven't heard anything back about those two items. So is there any kind of update
Yeah.
as to lowering the speed limit and doing stop signs?
Yeah, and I probably should have just stopped down and shared this with you. So actually, I walked it again. Dave, what was it, about less than a month ago that you and I were on River on something else, and we walked it and looked at the potential for, additional stop signs. It's just, it's, Rob, it's impractical for us to put another stop sign in there. It literally would have you stopping and then stopping, and again, I grapple with New York State's not recommendation but guidance on this about using traffic control devices as traffic calming devices, and that's part of the discussion and the calculus that the village board made about the school crossing guard. And I get it; it's 180 days out of the year, an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon, was to add an additional person with a handheld stop sign to do that and to act as a traffic calming device. The speed limit piece, Dave, we ran into a problem with that with the state, and what was that again? Because they're talking about a 5 mile per hour reduction.
We're gonna have to apply to the state to lower, because in order to go lower, the village lowest speed limit you can have right now is 25 miles an hour.
And what is it on River?
25.
So we can't go any lower than 25.
Yeah, we'd have to apply to the state for a variance, basically, to the.
Right, and they would probably want to know if there was some kind of
They're gonna want
a zone there, and there isn't.
And histories and.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
So those two, and I was just trying to remember, and thank you both for refreshing my memory. I was trying to remember, those were the two that we kind of got stuck on.
Right.
We've done everything else we possibly could, and I got to tell you, Rob, we only have two, and the chief bought an extra one just for this. We only have two of those speed monitors there. One of them I want by the school. Now we have to change it up from time to time on Hudson Street because that's the Mater's thoroughfare and where a lot of the speeding goes. But we've left that one on River just to try to help out. And I know that the longer it's there, then people get used to it and then they continue to speed through it. But I'm trying to leave it there as much as possible because I've got people on other streets calling and saying, we want one of those on our street. And I'm like, they can only be on certain streets, and we understand the issues on River. But yeah, those two issues, the stop sign, it's just not feasible to do that. And I knew we had run into a problem with trying to get the speed limit lowered.
Okay.
We did increase enforcement along
Yes.
River Avenue as well.
Yes.
Well,
During that entire time.
Not really. What happens is that, like, day after we approach the board and talk about this, maybe like for a day or two, we see a cop posted, maybe a little bit, and that's it. There's no ongoing regulation, I guess, or ongoing observance of anything like that. So there's really no enforcement. There hasn't really been, except in those situations where, like I said, we come, we say something, and then
I will
there is,
bring
and
it,
then there
I'll,
isn't.
I'll bring up your comments and I will quote you verbatim to the chief, because I spoke to the chief a week ago and said, are we doing additional patrols on River? And he said, we are. So but I'll talk to him and I'll say, hey, look, whatever we're doing, let's add some on there, okay? And I get what you're saying, that when it's the hot button topic and then there's a lot of tension to it and then you guys feel like things die down or whatever, but I feel like we've done some things on River that we haven't done on other streets that people have begged for. And those last two things, they're just not feasible right now.
And Rob, I actually spoke to the chief about this too, because I think it was the last time I ran into you. And he told me that they did it at different times and they did have posts. I think ultimately the problem is this though, is that we only have one police officer on tour, each, 8-hour tour. The problem is obviously they can't be sitting there the entire time. And they got the rest of the village to us. So I just, I know it's an obvious thing, but I think some people are on the misunderstanding that we have 2 or 3 on, and we just don't. We only have one.
I don't think we've never talked about having somebody there 8 hours a day patrolling River.
Gotcha.
No,
It's at the
I don't want to
times
insinuate
when-
that, but it's
come and go, even different days, different spots, different hours, so.
I don't know if we would have been as amenable to hiring an additional school crossing guard when there were people that said, well, you should have one in Idlewild. You should have one at the bottom of Duncan. You should have one here on the other side. You should have one down here. But our view of this was, yes, it's what's been asked for, but also in a small way, again, it's the deterrent effect of having somebody there with a stop sign in the morning.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's a good thing, a really good thing.
I'd love to give you all of them. We just can't.
And we'll get the information from the chief, because I also specifically asked him how many speeding tickets he gave out and that were issued, excuse me. And there weren't that many. And if I remember correctly, he was saying that for the most part, people were staying within the speed limit. I know, because we were talking about the houses being so close to the street. Now, I know I will live on Hudson Street. There are times where I think people are speeding. It's because of the noise. You feel like they're moving quicker. But look, let's get the information from the chief at the next meeting, and we can give you the numbers.
And I'm sorry he's not here tonight, because we would have been able to address it, but he was sick at the last minute.
I mean, I read about the comment about the perception being faster than it is, and I don't know if I agree with that at all, because speeding is speeding, whether I'm on my front porch or my backyard.
And we spoke about that, and as a guy that speaks to the media for a living or has done that for a living, sometimes we say things and that's not the way that the intent was. Like, and not that he said this, but those crazy people on River, they just think that it's fast. That's not the perception at all. We recognize that. I mean, I've been on there and seen people come up and do it, or been on the road and seen people come zooming up too. So we'll talk to the chief. I wish I could do those other 2 things, but we will do due diligence in making sure we step up patrols.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you got it. Mr. Joy, I believe you're next up. You're batting in the 2 hole.
Speed guy.
Rick Joy, 167 Hudson. And to follow up on Rob's comments, one thing I did notice, I did notice a police presence in the parking lot of the fire department. I forget what time of day it was, but he was trained toward the intersection. But I did notice also that the paint job, the stop paint, could be like more pronounced. It's not going to be a visual impediment, but you see that when you're driving. But it's not something that everybody has to look and see a giant sign. And perhaps you'd consider increasing the point size on that stop at the top, and also at the bottom at the intersection with River and Shore Road, maybe do a white bar across, because that's an all-way stop, that 3-way intersection.
Mm-hmm.
Put a white bar there, if you're coming up on Shore Road and you're going to go up River, put a white bar there at that intersection, and the same big stop. It sort of sets the language as you go up the slope. You know, it's like, stop. It's like you're not just kind of rolling through a stop sign and then just continuing up this. It just sort of sets maybe the language for like, we're thinking about this and paying attention.
Let me take a walk with Dave Halverson. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah,
We'll do it.
just based on what you're saying. Okay, so the local informs me, you know, so I just read, and then I in my feeble little brain, I remember things, and it's been a while since I've been here, so they start to build up. But the thing I wanted to ask was, I know periodically, and I think it just happened recently, relicensing Verizon's contract with the village to provide service. And I know others have voiced some concern that it's an opportunity to leverage Verizon to maybe, and what informed me was the lead pipes, you know, that is now an issue. And it's like, oh yeah, they're a bad actor. They're maybe a bad corporate actor, and nothing is going to really hold them to account unless someone says you can't operate here. But the zombie cables, the coaxial zombie cables that take up so much, they're such an eyesore. Completely, they're an anachronism, you know, and they should be cleaning it up. And they could also cash in on all the copper that's in that coax. So it's not like they don't even have a financial incentive. They have a financial incentive, and they should have, basically, someone should be, you know, you want to operate here, remove those lines. And I guess, I don't know if that happened this time around, and I know the licensing agreement doesn't.
Yeah, you're talking about the franchise agreement. He worked on that for us.
They're not signed yet, Rick. In fact, I've been first just putting Verizon aside. That hasn't even been touched. We've been dealing with just Spectrum right now.
Spectrum.
In regard to this, and I've been in touch with their rep, and we, in regard to the zombie lines, he said, look, you know, it's in everyone's. If someone wants a line removed, he goes, it's on all our bills and everything. I said, fine. We tried to maneuver. We tried to massage some language into the agreement, and at the end of the day, that's not going to work. But he said, look, provide me the locations. And he goes, I will have our person come out and look at the lines. They know by the line, there's a code on the line. They can tell us whether or not it's their line. If it's their line, they'll take care of it. It's not, they'll let us know who the line is. I spent last Sunday or Sunday, I walked from the bandstand, to the fire department up to DB Mart. And I think I have about 8 to 10 locations, and I haven't gone through the rest of the place, rest of the village. Yeah. Just 8 to 10. Just looking at that, there were either lines hanging down that Dave had guys, tape
tie
around,
them up to the side of a pole,
and then there's portions where it's just a mixed bag of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you have a few, you want to email them to me, Rick.
Sure.
I'm putting the list together for this guy. He's been bugging me about it because he wants the agreement to get done, but I'm like, I'm waiting because I just got to finish going through them.
I mean, right in front of my house, I can tell you that. Those are monster trunk lines, and they don't carry a signal at all. They're just taking up space. Yeah. They're dead weight, and they're this thick. I mean, it's absurd. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for that. The second one is a point of information, really, to help me regarding. What made me think of it was a letter in the local, just from a town resident regarding the IMF and everything, and water and all that.
IMA,
sorry. And I just was curious, is there any metric out there to understand what the proportion of properties that are on wells versus properties that are on in the water department?
Oh, we know.
Well, how many, Mike?
We don't have any of that information on file. I mean, that would be something we'd have to speak with the town about and see what their building department has in terms of plans that may show wells being approved.
Might be helpful for people to sort of wrap their head around personal responsibility, as this writer was intimating. Don't put this undue burden on me. It would just be helpful to know, just, comparing apples to apples, because to some degree, I don't really agree with that guy at all, but,
Neither do we.
Yeah.
but I had to consider his point.
Sure.
And that was a metric that I thought would be helpful
Yeah.
for me to know.
And Rick, I know we know what you're talking about and the argument. You know, it goes back to again the $200,000, right? That's the way I wrap this up. Which $20,000 of that is property taxes that the town levies on our water properties, and the rest of it is school taxes.
Right.
He was trying to make the case that, well, you're just going to distribute it back onto the taxpayer here, but it's not entirely true. And the reason is this. This Cornwall Central School District is made up of COH children, Town of Cornwall children, Town of New Windsor children, and Town of Woodbury children. So that apportionment that happens, if they waive those $170,000, now gets spread out. What angers me, and I know I shouldn't get angry, but what angers me is the fact that in the town of Cornwall, in the village of Cornwall-On-Hudson, we get double taxed by the school district. You get taxed for your property on Hudson Street, then they taxed you for the right to have water being treated and distributed from our water properties. However, and here's the kicker that was not mentioned the other day, the town of New Windsor and the town of Woodbury on their water properties within the Cornwall Central School District pay zero school taxes on those properties. So it's not fair. So we're getting double banked here, and then they're gifting an exemption to Woodbury and New Windsor and not to us. How can the city of Newburgh do it with the Newburgh and Large City School District? They exempt the city of Newburgh's water treatment facilities and all their water properties. Why isn't the Cornwall Central School District with an $87 million a year budget, and then the New York State gifted them another $5.2 million in budget? They didn't lower our school taxes, yet they're not going to waive money, which is 7% of our water. $200,000 is 7% of $3 million a year. So that's my argument, and that's why, Jimmy, why are you getting hung up on $200,000? Because of the argument I just made.
Okay.
So that's it.
Thank you.
That's it.
That was more of an answer than I.
All right, I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
I was on a roll, Rick.
I had my
Not aimed at you.
I had my blast shield up, and I was taking it.
Not aimed at you.
Okay.
You know that.
No, I know. Don't kill the messenger. So, and then the last thing is a few months after the fact, but I feel compelled to say something, and it's a critique and it's maybe a suggestion, and it basically has to do with our New Year's Eve celebration. And people have spoken since that time. Basically, what comes out of the PA system, I can't call it music, and I'm not going to be an old stodgy guy and call it noise. So I'm just going to call it sound. And the sound that comes out of that PA, I characterize it, and others do, as angry. I think it's aggressive sound, and I think it's kind of hostile sound. And I almost am in this fight or flight kind of, it sort of amps me up. And the fact that we're all kind of barricaded in through other forces that are beyond, but you're taking your precautions, but collectively it creates this anxiety. And I just feel like there's a better way that we can celebrate New Year's Eve. And the thing that really makes it apparent to me is like the ball drops. Oh, let's just stop all that and play Old Lang Syne. And they should all acquaint. And so for the amount of time it takes to play Old Lang Syne, it's like 1957, right? And then once that song ends, pow, back to headbanger. And I don't know, I just don't think that's our community. And maybe it's possible to speak to the people who put on we all put it on, right? And it's just something to stick in your, the overall effect, and people who aren't even at the fair say, one person called it bombastic. I thought that was an interesting descriptor. But people are hearing that and thinking this is out of proportion somehow. I remember when the New Year's Eve first started, it was like such a folky little homemade affair, and there was something so endearing about that. But it's just kind of gotten steroided out now, and I just think there's a way to maybe ratchet back a few steps and get back to sort of the spirit of what New Year's Eve is. Thank you all.
We appreciate that, and I am that guy, Rick. I'm the guy angrily shaking his fist at clouds. I'm that old guy, and trust me, and I have to be there for the entire event, and it's not my style of music either.
But I looked around, and nobody's grooving with it.
Well, it's the demographics that we're talking about. It's the young kids, and
They're
the young
not really
kids,
grooving
and
to
that's
it
what.
either, unless they're just
that's
taking
what,
it like this. I mean, maybe that's how they. Maybe that's
Listen,
how they groove. But
I'd love them to play country music, but I don't think they're going to do it for me. All right, your points are all well taken. I'll pass that on. Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? All right, let's go around the board. Lightning round. Trustee Paleota, anything to add?
I was very appreciative to see how the Cornwall-On-Hudson and Cornwall came together for summer camp. It may not all be perfect, but I appreciate that no one is left out, and I hope that they go ahead and pass that also. Just because one building is out, we pick up the other, and I appreciate that about our town. I wanted to say thank you to the poll workers. They did a great job, but they were here all day. It's amazing that how much time that really truly is. And that's all I got. Thanks.
And I want to thank you for taking the tour of COH Elementary School with us as we were looking to find the best suitable spot for it. So thanks for your input on that. I think your connection to the school, being PTO president, was enlightening for us to get your perspective. So thank you.
I have more anytime.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Trustee Brain.
Congratulations to the Water Department for the Water System of the Year designation from the New York Rural Water Association. I guess they'll announce that at some. Do they announce that at their conference or whatever the
Yeah, I'm not sure
times?
what the protocol is.
So we should all give ourselves and you.
Yeah, we'll get some press on that.
So that's really exciting, and congratulations to trustees returning to the board.
Thank you.
I think that's probably it. I'm on a personal note, I'm helping my parents get their house ready to clear it out, and so just looking at my own home, I'm very jazzed for bulk pickup day, April 22nd, so that I can not be in a similar situation in my future.
Thank God we have it.
But
That's all I
thank you.
can say.
All right.
That's it.
All right. Trustee Carnwright.
Congratulations to my colleagues. Thank you for running. It's not easy, especially with Jim here. I meant the other Jim.
Well
Nice
played.
play,
Well played.
I think that's it. Congratulations to Mike and the water department. We certainly deserve it. We have a great water department, and we have great resources. Let's hope that we keep them as upgraded as we've been doing. So that's it for me.
All right, Deputy Mayor King.
Congratulations to the water department, and I just wanted to thank local residents for coming out and voting. Doesn't necessarily have to have been for my colleague and I, Lori Beth, but thanks for coming out and exercising your right, and I look forward to working with the board for another 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's an important point that I think in recent modern history, 2014 showed one of the lightest turnouts for a trustee race that was uncontested when we had 89 people show up to vote for that in a village of 3,000 people with 2,100 registered voters. So to see over 300 people turn out for this one is good. I think the muscle memory in voting is becoming more of a thing with people, that they just get out to vote. But appreciate people turning out, and I don't have anything else. I think it's been covered. Well done to the water department. Any alibis from the board? Any alibis from the superintendents? Hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to close the meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, keep in mind the mics are still on. I don't think this went out to the public, but at least we'll have it recorded and make it available, right? We can do that.